Let's turn attention to security now. The Defense Headquarters has confirmed the killing of 34 terrorists in its raids on different locations in Borno State. A statement by the Defense Headquarters mentions that 6 of its personnel were killed in action and 23 AK-47 weapons recovered. The DHQ explains that the terrorists were taken unaware when troops returning to base foiled their planned attack as soon as the attack commenced. The troops reinforcement team, which had the Civilian Joint Task Force, vigilantes and hybrid forces, also arrived at the scene to overpower the terrorists. The Defense Headquarters says the reinforcement team encountered an improvised explosive device, injuring the vigilante commander. The air component of Operation Hardin Kai also conducted air interdiction on the fleeing terrorists, which led to the death of many. For more on this development, CEO Security Watch Africa, Patrick Egbambu, joins us live from Abuja via Zoom. Good to have you join us on TVC News at 7. It's just 8 days into the new year. Is this a sign that troops are one step ahead of these enemies of the state?
Yeah, it's a confirmation that the troops of the armed forces of Nigeria are really ready and willing to give bloody nose to the terrorists that has been ravaging some parts of the country. It's a good one, though 6 personnel were killed, but it's one of those things that happen in an active war situation, because you agree with me that the country is in a state of war, and so it happens in situations like this. But it's sad that we've lost 6 well-trained personnel, but it's a plus because the numbers of the terrorists is quite encouraging, and many more are still being dealt with, because the troops of Operation Hardin Kai are on the trail of those who escaped the bombardment and the attacks from the ground forces.
National security, we saw President Tinubu in the ambitious 2025 appropriation bill propose 4.91 trillion naira for defense and security. What does this say about the body language of the president to fighting insecurity in the country?
Yeah, it's a plus. It's encouraging that there is political will to sustain the fight against insurgency and terrorism. In fact, totally sustain the fight against criminality in Nigeria is a plus, even though some of us, including me, would say that we are still far cry from it. That amount, it's not up to 10% of what some countries are spending. Even countries in Africa are spending, even though they are not in a war situation like ours. Take South Africa, for instance, they spend far, far more than that. But it's good that that amount is budgeted, but I also pray that it will be appropriated, because it's one thing to budget, but to hear such large amount at the end of the day, those people who are supposed to get this fund don't get even up to 40% of that amount. Is encouraging. I must commend President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for taking that bold step, but we still ask that more funding for the security sector in Nigeria is needed.
All right, Mr. Egbambu. And recently, the media was awash with news of accidental bombing in Sokoto, which the CDS says was not an error. What's your take about the military's approach and their relationship with local communities?
Yeah, yes, that is where we still have some minors in the sense that we still have some communities who would rather be on the side of criminals, on the side of their oppressors, than be on the side of the security forces. That is a big problem that not the military now, the civil authority, the civil governance will have to work to be able to get these people, these Nigerians, to believe, to know that these criminals are not their saviors, rather the security forces are their saviors. Because what happened what happened in that instance, it's proper intelligence was gathered, everything was done, but on the trail of these terrorists, these bandits, they used the community as a human shield. Unfortunately, the bomb went off, and some of these terrorists were among those that were killed in the midst of these innocent citizens. It's sad that it's happened. Unfortunately, that can be regarded as a collateral damage. And that was why I had advocated that there's need to isolate these criminals from these communities. If there's need to relocate communities from where you have terrorists or bandits infested, it should be done so that total onslaught will be carried out against these bandits and terrorists.
All right, Mr. Gbambu, it's a good way to leave the conversation. CEO, Security Watch Africa, Patrick Gbambu, thank you for your time on TVC News at 7.
Thank you so much.